big promise that this thing can happen if Nabi find good quality players, and also not forgetting to promote also South Africans. We're talking about players which are going to represent South Africa in the national team, and there are talents over there. And Nabi is not only looking overseas or internationally, he's actually looking also in South Africa. So according to the possible move of Mbule as Mamelodi Sundowns, they're actually having some days to actually to make a final decision that they're going to keep him or not going to keep him. I have Mesh here on the line, and we're gonna talk about Sepang Moremi and also Sipombule possible signing at Kaizer Chiefs. XM Mesh. Hey Mesh,
Hola Mula.
how is it, bruh?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
Nandi. So, bro, as things stands, we talked about Mbule and Mamelodi Sundowns are left with some days to make a decision on Mbule, and the big rumor is that Kaizer Chiefs that they are actually on front on running. I mean, on signing him.
Hey, we don't know with Chiefs. I think it's what the fans want,
Yeah.
or maybe it's like one of the teams that would be a good choice for him.
Yes.
But I
So
don't know if the team itself wants the player.
yeah.
That one I don't know. But I hope they are looking at him.
Yes, but with your own understanding as a fan of Kaizer Chiefs, do you think it will be a good signing?
Yeah, no, it will definitely be a good signing. I see also with Matlou leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I think someone like Mbule can fill in that gap.
Mm-hmm.
But also someone like Mbule, he can do very well to a point of, in fact, if you look at all our midfielders,
Mm-hmm.
there's not many I can count that are better than him. In fact, I'm struggling to find 2 or 3 midfielders that I can say are better. I can find one maybe in Kele, but otherwise the rest I don't know.
Yes. So
So it's definitely a good idea for Chiefs to look at him.
yes, what I also like about Mpole is that he is actually that kind of a midfielder which can give you defensive wise and also offensive.
Yeah, which is what's lacking with the current players. You know,
Yes, yes. So
yes.
do you as you already say that he's going to add value to the club, but what about the bad behavior which have been trending?
I don't know, man. I just feel like, certain teams they can handle that. Certain teams they can't handle,
Mm-hmm.
having such bad publicity. I think Sundowns has done so well for themselves. And, they hold their image very, very high,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that, it's these things, they matter to them to that point of, look, if a player is behaving like this, it's not like we can't replace him. We
Yeah.
can replace him,
Yes. Yes.
but then the problem at Chiefs is that, hey, even if somebody is behaving bad and they're good, who's the replacement?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Like there's very little players that you can find that can replace one another.
Mm-hmm.
Even some club legends still haven't been replaced today. So it's things like that that you look at. You look at which situation are you in, and
Yes.
I'm hoping that Chiefs realizes that they're in a situation where they need quality
Yeah.
in every front line,
Mm-hmm.
even if that quality is coming with difficulties. They need that quality
Yes.
because they lack a lot of quality in a lot of areas. You
Yes.
know, Cele came into the into the system, into the team, and still today he doesn't have someone he can pair with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fact.
And Miguel came into the system, he paired with Dud.
Mm-hmm.
Up front, we can look at moments with Sirino Shabalala. We can look at, you understand.
Mm-hmm.
But in the midfield, there's no one that he has paired with.
Mm-hmm.
Mart also, there's no one that he can pair with. So these guys, they're all having moments. Ngobo has moments, where he's good. He's got moments where he's not good. Mteto has moments. He had moments where he was good. He had moments where he wasn't doing so good. you know.
Yes.
So I think that's what's lacking, where you have a player that can do at least 50% of each job.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the players that we have are so one-dimensional that he's literally a defensive player or he's an attacking player, meaning that he's only good when we don't have the ball. But when he has the ball, he doesn't know what to do with the ball. We see with Mart, we see with Mtetwa, we see with what they can't do with the ball, but we know they
Yes.
can get the ball. And
Mm.
then others are one-dimensional in attack, like we see with Macro, we see with Ngobo, where
Mm-hmm.
defensively they cannot give you much, but attacking-wise, when they
Mm.
have the ball, they can give you a lot.
Mm.
So Mbule is somebody that can give you something when he doesn't have the ball and give you something when he has the ball. And I think that Taylor needs someone like that,
Yeah.
that can pair with him and actually make the team a dynamic team.
Yes.
Because at this current stage, we're one-dimensional. We know what Modi's gonna do. We know what Solomon's is gonna do. We know what all these players are gonna do. They
Yes.
don't necessarily do things that are remarkable. They
Yes.
like repeat the same thing over and over again.
That's
So I
why.
think someone who can come in and give you that moment
Yes.
is needed.
As you're still crying, I think I just have to add also this also another rumor which is gaining momentum about Sepang Moremi from Amazulu, the right winger, the boy who can actually give you kind of good football and also assisting.
Yes, that's what we need. We need the end result. You look at Modi, you look at all our attackers. The ones that you can pinpoint and say that okay, this one did well
Mm-hmm.
is Mdu, Cirino, Modi, and what is this? Lilepo, and Duba as well. But there's a way that these players have achieved what they achieved,
Mm-hmm.
right? You look at Mdu. Mdu, he achieved what he achieved by actually playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Like on every chance that Mdu has scored or created whatever, it was individual brilliance. He
Fact.
created that. He doesn't fall onto things. He created, these opportunities for himself. So someone like that, I think, also needs someone who can do the same things like Modi, where he constantly does the same things, where we can get opportunities. But a lot of these players, they don't have replacements, they don't have competition, and
Okay.
they become complacent. And I think that quality will force the players to do something that's remarkable
Mm-hmm.
and not be okay with a 5 out of 10 game. You
Mm-hmm.
know, these guys must push for 7 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 games each and every game. If you can see what you are off, I think as a player, you must be able to tell your coach, I coach, ngiyabona ukuthi off. But I feel like, some of these guys, even if they don't perform well, Mart has had strings of bad performances, but he's also had strings of good performances. But at the end of the day, it seems like there is no replacement for him. you know um the same can be mentioned with other players. Those players also don't have replacements. So I think that at this current moment, Moremi can really give us something
Yes.
that is not there in the team. Something that's dynamic again, like Mbule. But something that can also be repeated. Being able to dribble and repeat that in different ways, is
Yes.
something that the team is lacking. Because we know with Solomons, he's gonna run up until the corner, then he's gonna come in. No, I'm being serious.
In fact, but we
There's a
saw.
shot that he took,
Did you see what this boy gifted Lirem? What? So I mean, sorry, Tsepang
Tepang
Lirem,
Moremi.
Moremi. What he did on Orlando Pirates when he caused actually an on goal. You see how he dribbles.
Yes, this is what we're talking about, right? We want people who can challenge.
Mm.
Again, that's why I bring it back to Modi. Modi is a good player. I'm not saying he's maybe he lacks in other aspects. For
Mm-hmm.
example, right? It's a one-on-one. Modi, you have the defender to beat, right?
Mm-hmm.
What most of the time, what does he do? He passes the ball back, and
Mm-hmm.
we've seen that with Grealish. We've seen that, being. But the problem is that we are not a position-based team. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
We're a team that acts on chances. We're a team that creates chances and needs those chances to be completed. You
Yes.
know, and in this case, you know, um, it was important, or it is important for players like Modi or Mart who are playing week in, week out to do things that are remarkable. We saw with Mart that one chance, that half volley that he did against Pirates Netbank Cup, the winner, you know, that was good, but we also need a little bit more from players. And with Modi going to the corner, then passing back, or Solomon's running to the corner, forcing his way in, like, it's the same thing. Why not this time around cut in and then shoot? Why not Modi, dribble, take on that player, go past that player, then do a cut in, a cut in. You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
But
yeah,
a lot
I'm
of our
listening.
players, they're very one-dimensional, and that's why Moremi, Mbule, even with his problems, even Velepai, even Bartman, all these players with their problems or their underdevelopment or anything like that, they are very dynamic and they serve superior than
Yes,
some of the players that we have.
yes. So Mesh, just to conclude, I think this one is just a bonus where I was just researching and I found out that Miguel Team from Orlando Pirates actually going to part ways with the club. He'll be a free agent. So don't you think that it can also add value, or else maybe it's not a good, it cannot be a good acquisition for Kaizer Chiefs?
No, nah, he's too soft. He's too soft. I think he can work well in a system where it's not fast paced.
Okay.
Because I think Nabi, the players that Nabi is looking for, I don't think a lot of them can be found, unless they're like top quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like team, a very good team. And I feel like every player excelled from Lamini to Mbata, everyone who was playing in the midfield, they all excelled. So in order for him to was dispute with the coach or whatever, but I feel like he's not the right material for Chiefs.
Okay.
Chiefs want someone who's complete. That's why I say Mbule, is a good option.
Okay.
Moremi is a good option because while in their position, they're complete. And I mention again that some of our players, yes, they are good, but they are not complete in their position. You find someone is playing number 8, but doesn't serve defensively. You find someone is playing number 6. All they do is defensive work. You understand? Yes, we,
Mm-hmm.
we know you must be defensive minded if you're playing number 6, but you also need to be dynamic. You need
Mm-hmm.
to add to your game and you need to give input attacking wise. If not attacking wise, be able to distribute the ball.
Yes.
If you're not a Messi Maestro type of player, at least be a cross where you know what to do with the ball. You can take the ball and hit a pass, even if you are not, a flashy player. So I think that a lot of the positions we are having, they are not complete. They don't have players that are complete in the positions. And I feel like Nabi is looking for those type of players, not
Mm-hmm.
players that that still need a certain environment. The environment is what he puts there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing against a team that's attacking, the defenders will have to work because
Mm-hmm.
we know that. Let's say we're playing Sundowns or Pirates or Stellenbosch, even for that matter. We know which our defenders need to be on their A game because that team is better than us. But we also need to be on our A game on taking our chances. And that's the environment that Nabi is putting players in. He's putting them in positions where they're able to take their chances.
Mm-hmm.
There is no player who we can say they couldn't turn their season around. You know,
Yeah.
how many misses have players had one on one?
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 goals that you have is the same as Allende. Allende has 2 goals. But someone will say, oh, he's having a stellar season. But those 2 goals that you have, you can be compared with so many players that also have 2 goals that are said to be having a great season. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's things like that when you look at it, about Dupria, they missed one-on-ones. Abo Modi, they missed one-on-ones. Abo about Chivaviro, they've missed, sitters. And you just think to yourself, had he just converted those 2, 3 chances, the season is completely different. And that didn't happen because players are not complete in their position. They need
Yes.
to be in a certain environment.
So
And this is where players like a team, I don't think are the right material for Chiefs
okay.
because they are not,
I know.
complete
I
in their
think you have
position.
answered what I was asking for. So I wanted to ask you also a last question where there is some fans which are saying that Chivaviro must stay because he didn't get enough supplier. So if maybe Kaizer Chiefs can sign a good midfielder, Chivaviro will be a good player.
That's why I'm saying that, certain players need to be in a certain environment. That's where the problem is.
Okay, I know. Thank you,
And there are
Mesh.
certain players that don't need an environment.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mesh. Thank you very much, and we really appreciate your time here, Playspot. Guys, this was Mesh trying to breaking down and on what is really happening on the transfer, and I feel like I see some of the players. I told you about 8 players which are leaving, and I don't know if Mesh still have time, but we can make it for another day. Discuss about the players which are leaving Kaizer Chiefs, and I feel like there are some of the players which are which deserves to stay, and some of them they deserve to leave the club. Thank you very much, Mesh, for your time, and also thank you very much for from the viewers.
Sharp, sharp, Mula.
Thank you.